friends. We are your supplier of good feels. We are all about mindset, feels, and fitness. And today's video is a really cool mindset hack that I have been doing for the past 6 weeks. And thank goodness I knew about it, because I decided to make a really, really big life change. And since I've been using this particular hack, I have been really confident, clear, and comfortable with the decisions I'm making in regards to my life. And I can't tell you how much I feel like I'm in alignment, and so many different synchronicities have been showing up since I decided to do this. So the hack is focusing on how it feels rather than how it looks. And as I said, thank goodness I knew about this before I decided to make a leap of faith and quit my corporate job, because if I focused on what that might look like to other people, I never would have made the leap. And that's because I'm 33. We are in the middle of a really crazy testing time with all of this COVID stuff. I have resigned from a very secure full-time job in finance that I have been doing for almost 7 years. I do not have another job to go to. I'm having a bit of a life pause, a bit of an eat, pray, love moment, and I couldn't feel more in alignment and more comfortable with this decision. Why? Because when I was in that full-time job, it actually had started to affect my health. I was like ridiculous amount of stress. I was ridiculously stressed. I had huge outbreaks in my skin. I wasn't sleeping very well, and when I was clenching my jaw, so I had TMJ, which was causing my ears to block and give me consistently ringing ears. I felt really lethargic and negative, and just everything seemed to go wrong, and I couldn't quite shake it no matter what I did, no matter how many times I got on the mat. I had a gratitude journal, I had a meditation practice. None of these things seemed to just shake how I was feeling. It was there. So I asked the universe for a sign, and I got it. I asked the universe to show me if I should resign from my job, and it came through loud and clear. If you guys have not seen that video on how to ask the universe for signs, I'm going to link it in here for you. But because I had this particular mindset hack of focusing on how it feels rather than how it looks, the moment I made that decision, I felt a million times better. At the time, I had a really bad neck issue, and I thought that it was my computer setup and working from home and being on my phone a lot. Turns out that that was just another sign of stress of showing up physically in my body. So the moment I made the decision, which I felt confident and comfortable to do because I realized the universe had my back, I resigned from my job, and I felt a million times different. I felt good. I was focusing on what it felt like rather than what it looked like. I actually was really reluctant to tell people that I decided to do this in the middle of a pandemic, because I felt this really weird sense of guilt, because I know so many other people were doing it tough, and having a secure job in these kind of conditions is actually a total blessing, and I totally understand that. But it was making me sick, physically sick, and it wasn't good for me, and it wasn't good for Robbie. So I had to do what felt right. And since I have done this, so many crazy synchronicities and just positive notes have come into my life that I absolutely know that I've made the right decision. How did I even get onto this mind hack? It was really crazy, because the conversation was actually born out of discussion I had with a really close and beautiful soul sister of mine. She's a Chinese medicine doctor. She's amazing. We're totally on the same vibe with this kind of stuff. So we were talking about the use of mirrors in yoga practice, and while I wholeheartedly agree that they do have their place in so many different elements, including yoga, I couldn't stop hearing this voice in the back of my head from my yoga instructor, who was saying, or used to always say during my yoga teacher training, yoga is a felt experience. It is about how it feels rather than how the actual shapes look. And when I was discussing this with her, I realized there are so many different people that come to me in my life. I've been a yoga teacher while I've been working full time, and so many people come to me and they're like, oh, I'm not a yoga person because I'm not very flexible. Or no, I'm going to wait until I get flexible before I do yoga. Or I've never done yoga, my mind's too busy. And just a side note, if either of those things are you definitely need yoga, because yoga is a felt experience, and it's about the mind and the body. It's not so much just about if your shape looks like the instructors or the person next to you. But I know that so many people don't do things because they're worried about how it looks. And the more and more I got thinking about this, I was like, imagine how different our lives would be and the different choices we would make if we focused so much more on how things felt rather than how they looked. And it took me back to like one of the most happiest times I'd ever had in my life. And that was when I went backpacking with my girlfriend through Europe. And we had very, very little money at this point, and we only had the things that we could carry on our backs. We wouldn't have seen a full-length mirror for the whole time that we were over there, and it did not matter one bit because we were so engrossed in having this felt experience that we didn't even care. I couldn't even begin to tell you what we were wearing, or all I can remember from that trip is the amazing people that we met, the places that we went to together, the nights where we went to the beach at sunset and stayed out until sunrise, drinking the cheapest wine we could find and eating the cheapest street food we could get our hands on. And every single one of those photos I have of that trip, I would post on Instagram in a minute, regardless of whether it was a bad angle or whether I'd been particularly well fed while I was over there, because every single one of them represents an amazing felt experience. I'm smiling even just thinking about it. We have these photos of us in Paris, which is meant to be one of like the most fashionable places in the world, and we're literally wearing everything that we possibly owned because for some reason it was really cold in Paris that week. So I was wearing like a dress over pants, a jacket, and I had a poncho over it. So we have these completely ridiculous photos in front of the Eiffel Tower, but they're one of my most favorite and treasured memories because I actually forgotten how to ride a bike. And I know that they say you never forget how to ride a bike, but I think you kind of can. Beck, you can back me up on that. It was quite the day, but I remember it with absolute fondness. And the people that we met on the trip and the experiences we had, I don't remember what any of them like sort of were studying at uni or what they did for jobs or where they grew up, because it was kind of all redundant. It was like a little bit irrelevant. We were all, the thing that we had in common were these experiences that we had, and they were the connections that we made, and they were the things that we discussed. And all of those things are just etched into my heart and mind, and I just have these amazing photos of that. And there have been times since that, you know, I wouldn't want a photo post on Instagram because I'm like, oh, look at that roll there. Like, and even now when I take some of my yoga photos, I get like, I have to get in my head of like, it's not about what it looks like, it's about what it feels like. So I was delving into this and I was peeling layers back and back, and I was like, there are so many things that we hold back from doing in our life because we're really worried about how it looks. And I'm 33, in 3 days, I'm about to be what I'm calling fun employed, and I'm going to have a life pause. I don't have kids and we don't have a mortgage, and all of our travel plans have been scrapped. And if you were to write that down in paper, me resigning from my job over a ladybug sounds so ridiculous, but it feels so good. So just take a step back and just imagine what decisions you might change, even small decisions, if you focused on what it felt like. You know, would you wear the dress even if you were going to be the dressiest person there? Would you be the first person on the dance floor at a wedding because it's your favorite song and you know that dancing makes you happy? Would you say hello to strangers? Would you just change the way you lived your life? Would you have a different job? Would you drive a different car? All if it made you feel good. Would you do the yoga class, right? And there are so many aspects of my life that I felt like I could apply that to. And also like my former life, which one day I'll share with you. It's like a totally different life to the one that I have now. But having that mirror conversation, I am contemplating all of these different layers that I was peeling back. I was doing it while I was sitting in my current home, which is a former retirement home. Not the most regular things, but have a different perspective on growing older, partly because it's been part of my family for such a long time. But so many people talk about getting older like it's a bad thing. Every single birthday you get is a privilege, because it's a privilege that's denied to so many people. And each year that passes us by, you know, if we're caught up in how things look, we don't do the things that are going to make us feel good. We don't have those felt experiences, and we stay safe and we stay small, and we don't live our lives to how we truly should, the things that are really going to light up our soul. Sometimes we stay in jobs for like 40 hours a week in things that we don't even really want to do, just because it's going to give us a little taste of things that we think are going to make us happy for a small smidge of a moment. And I've lived that life for the past few years and not realized until now that I was focusing on maybe what it looked like rather than what it felt like. I love teaching yoga. I love teaching Pilates. I've been involved in health and fitness for like a decade. And I've always said to people that finance never really gave me that buzz of making someone feel good. Whenever people came to the gym, they always left feeling better than they walked in. Their mind was clear. And that's why I truly, truly love the health and fitness realm. And making the decision to sort of jump back into that again makes me feel so good. And I don't even know where it's going to lead because of COVID. But getting back to where I was going, I got a bit sidetracked there. So I have a really different perspective on growing older. And I realized that so many people complain about their age or getting older, and really what they should be focusing on is how much of a privilege it is. And sitting in these walls and thinking about all the amazing stories that have been shared here and all the amazing souls that have walked the hallways and, spent the last part of their life here, it ended up very much being like backpacking, because these people, while they couldn't carry everything that they owned, everything they had ended up in these four walls for them. The clothes on their back, the food that they needed, and a whole bunch of photos and memories of felt experiences. Like the people that I met here when they were living here, they don't live here with us now, they didn't have photos on the walls of like great big houses or fancy cars or the latest technology, like their computers that they had or their latest gadgets. They had photos of people, of places, of experiences, the things, their most treasured memories, the memories they had etched in their minds and in their hearts, and they weren't things. So as I look forward on this next chapter of my life, I know that with complete certainty that I'm not going to look back on this time as a bad thing. I'm going to look back on it as a felt experience. And just like I did my backpacking experience, I don't know what's coming next, but I do know that I am focusing on how it feels and not what it looks like, because the best decisions come from a place of love. And what I've done is out of love for myself. And hopefully what I'm going to do is going to share the love with a lot of people. So this is a mindset hack for you to apply from now until whenever. So hopefully if you've seen this video, this is something that will pop up into your mind when you are making decisions in regard to yourself. Focus on how it feels, not on how it looks, because at the end of the day, if you collect memories and moments, not things, you will truly look back on your life with your wall of treasured photos, your wall of treasured memories, and know that you had a felt experience. So please take that with you guys. If you have any feedback, please let me know. I'd love to know how this works for you. I look forward to sharing more mindset and movement videos with you over the coming months on my life pause, my little eat, pray, love moment, because this is the stuff that truly lights my soul on fire. And I have so much to share. This is stuff that I have been doing for over a decade. I just feel like it is bursting out of me to share it with you so that you can too focus on how it feels, not on how it looks. Make good choices, have fun, and stay tuned for more updates by hitting that subscribe button and more good feels.